Hi guys, welcome to another one of my videos. I am so sorry for the crazy hair look that I have going on. I have just had such a busy week. As I have mentioned several times in my videos, I am training for a marathon race, which is basically 26 miles of running. My exercises have really increased. I'm doing a lot more running, strength training, running. And it seems to be a lot of my life right now. I apologize right here and right now if some of my videos, I kind of look like a mess. Honestly, I'm also homeschooling. I've got boys in 4-H. It's just a crazy time right now, and I can't always make myself look 100% put together with makeup and everything, because sometimes I just don't have the time for it. But I kind of got my King of Thrones sweater on today, and because I'm trying to relax while I'm being busy. My son has a birthday tomorrow, so I'm trying to get everything prepared for that. But I am wearing my Halloween pajama pants. So my husband has a matching pair, so I'm going full on cozy today. Anyways, I decided to do something different. I debated about doing this particular video because the book that I read and I want to do a review on is not a popular book. This is not something that you can just buy anywhere. You can't find it on Amazon, any of your usual haunts and stuff. When I went to PopCon back in August, there was a bunch of authors that had booths and things, and they were selling their books. And I picked up this book right here, which is Escaped from Rage. And I decided that I wanted to do a review on this. And this is something that I'm hoping to eventually do more and more of on my channel. I would really like to find diamond in the rough books from authors that people aren't really talking about, and put them on my channel. I know that's kind of rough thing to do, because if I want my channel to grow, I know that talking about the most popular books would be the best course of action, because it helps the algorithm to get my YouTube videos out there. But I really feel like I want to pay homage to new and outcoming authors, because, you know, I'm kind of one too. I'm working on a book, right? And I think that there's a lot of books out there that a lot of people don't know about because they haven't had the opportunity to read them. They don't know about them. Nobody talks about them, or, you know, it's because it's a new author and she doesn't have many books out. Like, you know, it's just a whole thing. There is a series of books. I think there's like 4 of them out there. And I actually have a little bookmark. I'll show you guys right here. It's the Fists of Rage series, and I got a little bookmark here, and it has all 3 of the books on there. So there's 3 books, and it looks like the one at the bottom, the green book, is talking like it's somebody else's story from inside the book. I'm gonna go ahead and leave a link down below if you would like to support this new author and maybe decide that you want to give this book a try. I was given a way to go and purchase other books by her. Now, let's just get into talking about this review of this book. Now, I'm going to do my best to not give spoilers. So first off, we're just going to kind of talk about what's basically on the back of the book. So I'm not going to be giving anything away that isn't already back here. Basically, you have a woman, her name's Olivia, and she's been married for a while. At first, everything went okay. You know, it was kind of the marriage was going decent enough, right? They were both busy. Her husband is a DA in New York, and she was running her own restaurant. So they kind of had their own things that they were doing. Eventually things go on. I don't want to give too much information away, but eventually things get pretty bad. Her in-laws end up passing away. They were murdered, and they never were able to find who did it. And so it was like suddenly he changed, and he started abusing her a lot. And let me just say, without giving anything away, the things that this man did to her, like it broke me so hardcore. This woman has been through so much, so much. So just a heads up right now, check your trigger warnings, because this book definitely is heavy in the abuse scenarios. So just keep that in mind before you pick up this book. Anyways, she decides that she needs to get her life together. He puts her in the hospital again, and she realizes that the next time he puts her in the hospital, she might not come back out alive. And so she takes matters into her own hands. She waits for him to go to work. She takes what money she has left of hers, and she runs away. And she ends up in Las Vegas. And she's trying to start her life over again. But she realizes that there's only so much she can do still married to the man that she's married. And I genuinely don't know what she was completely thinking, but she decides that she's going to divorce her husband. And so she goes through the process of getting divorced, and she goes through a lawyer who one of her new friends is dating this lawyer. So she goes through him to finalize this, to get this divorce, to help with the paperwork. And in the meantime, he works with another organization. They kind of, the lawyer's office kind of works with this like security organization that kind of helps keep people safe. And so just because he realizes that even though she hasn't shared a lot with the lawyer, he realizes that some things, this might get dicey. So then he attaches a security unit to her. A series of events happen, and she ends up meeting up with a man who owns a couple casinos, and his name is Ian Alistrando. And so she ends up with him in his casino, being protected, and that's really all I feel like I can share without really giving stuff away. And again, I don't want to do that. It was a book I was definitely looking forward to reading. And I can genuinely say that I enjoyed it. I'm not going to tell you guys what I rated it or anything like that, because I'm going to be tacking that on to all the books that I read in the month of October. So I'm not going to give ratings or anything right now, but I will say that it was a very good book. There was a few things that honestly, it got to me a little bit. I feel like the relationship between Olivia and Ian was a little almost like insta love, but not the type that makes sense. It's really hard to explain. I just didn't really feel like the chemistry there. It just was there. The way that they explained how they were feeling for each other, the depth of how they were feeling, that was just, it was deep for so quick. Especially considering what both of them have been through in their lives, it just seemed very fast, in my opinion. And so I felt a little disconnected with their relationship. But again, the book was still good, and I still loved the two of them together. It's just, I don't know, there was just something that was kind of preventing me from being fully committed. The other thing that bugged me was the writing itself. It was very raw. And I do have to say that I think around my senior year of high school, I really started studying and working towards becoming a book editor. And so I applied myself to my Englishes a lot. I graduated English honors. I went into college doing higher end language arts. I veered away from that because I started to realize that my love of books and my love of reading would be ruined if I become an editor. By then, YouTube was starting to become a thing, and people were talking about how they wish that they never had went down the path of becoming an editor because it ruined books for them, that they weren't able to read books anymore because all they were doing was like nitpicking the books, and they couldn't turn that part of their brains off to just enjoy a book. And I can totally see that because sometimes I get that way too. I do find sometimes books will bug me. Now, if the storyline is good enough, then I can get past it. Quicksilver is a perfect example. Quicksilver ended up being a god tier book for me. I loved it so much. However, I was not a fan of the writing. So my point is that I can get past the writing if the story itself is catching enough. And for me, that was the way this book was. This story is what really caught me. The romance, not bad, not great, but not bad. And the writing, there was a lot of over explanations. It seemed almost as if the author decided that every time someone talked, there had to be some kind of an explanation or talking about something after a sentence. So someone talks and then there has to be a description before the next person talks. And then there has to be another description. And then the next person talks. And then there has to be a description. So there has to be a description of events after every single conversation. And that kind of affected the flow of the conversations, in my opinion. You take books like Fourth Wing as a perfect example. When Violet is having conversations with people, it's conversation, right? And then every so often it might have like a couple sentences, like, she sat down at the table, and then it'll have what she's saying, right? But there wasn't this need to have a description behind every single talk. This person talks and there has to be descriptions, and then this person responds and there has to be a description. The author might have been a little worried that we would get confused who was talking to who. So there was this conversation that Ian was having with his mother, and every single time she talked, she said his name, Ian. It's like, okay. We know. Okay, we know she's talking to Ian, that Ian and his mom are talking. They're on the phone together. It's just the two of them. You do not need to say Ian in every single time you open your mouth. I think he gets you're talking to him too, right? So it seemed like it got a little over descriptive on who was talking to who when it wasn't necessary. When a scene is set where there's two people talking, you don't need to have it be a constant reminder every time they open their mouths on who they're talking to. And then there was times where I feel like in some ways this book was my brain. Cause I'll have one thought in my head and I'm going down one path, and then suddenly I'm off in left field talking about something about my train of thought will make me think of something else, and then suddenly I'm way over in left field, and I've had conversations with my husband like that. He's like, wait a minute. We were just talking about baseball. How do we get to talking about bananas? Right. So this book kind of felt like my brain. So they'll be talking about a series of events or something's going on and they're describing that. And the next thing you know, they're talking about something completely different. And I'm going, how do we get there? In a way it makes sense, right? It's their history, but it's like, why? Oh, why? Huh. Okay. I like it when books describe characters. It's important. I know I've talked about books on this channel before where I've read a main character that had no description. It was a ghost person that had blank face, blank hair, nothing. Okay. This person was just blank slate. The pages were kind of weird in my opinion. Yeah. Like I was explaining earlier, this is a perfect example, right? You got, they're talking and then this long description, and then the next person talks, long description, and then the next person talks and long description, right? And it does that throughout the whole book. Overall, I loved the book. I really did. The story was absolutely amazing. Am I going to pick up book 2? Heck yeah, I am. Even though I know the writing's going to be raw. Anyways, I'm definitely going to read book 2 and book 3 for sure. This storyline really caught me. I want to find out what's going on. I do hope that in book 2 it's going to speed up a little bit. I do feel like in some small way this book was a bit slow. A lot of it was it starts in present tense with her already being away from her husband. But throughout the entire book, it mainly does a lot of backtracking and talking about past events that have happened to her, and which kind of gives it its own little spooky feel. There was a couple times I'm reading this book and I'm getting goosebumps. My personal opinion is if you are somebody who can get lost in a story and you can get past some rough writing, and I do mean rough. I'm not talking Vampire Academy rough, because if I were to compare the writing of Vampire Academy and this book, Vampire Academy would seem like the best written literature in the world compared to this. Okay, this is a lot more raw than Vampire Academy. So if you couldn't read Vampire Academy because of the writing, you would not be able to get through this, I promise you. But if you were someone like me who has read a couple of the Vampire Academy books and wasn't affected by the writing and the literature of it at all, then you won't have a problem with this. And again, the story is what got me. I am invested in Olivia's and Ian's stories to find out what's going to happen to them, where they're going to end up, how they're going to end up. I want to see how they work through the events that happened at the end of the book. It had such a deep feeling to it that, like, when you're reading it, you can really feel the emotion. You can feel the power. You can feel the fear. Like, I'm reading this book and, you know, I'm reading by my book light and I'm like looking over my shoulder like something's going to come get me. It really brings you into the book. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And I really wanted to give it a review all on its own because it is a not very well known talked about book. And I want my channel to really cater towards new authors like myself and give them a little support. So if you guys know of any new authors that maybe not many people are talking about, or maybe similar to me, you found one at a convention or something and you really liked it, let me know down in the comments below. Maybe send me a link on how I can purchase the book, and then maybe I'll read it and review it on this channel as well. So I can't wait for the next convention, which will be in August of 2026. And my plan, because I only bought the one book this time, but my plan is to probably buy one of all of the books that are at the booth, and then give each one of them their own review throughout the rest of the year between conventions. I hope you guys give this book a try. I definitely think it was worth it. It definitely has my recommendation. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. I really hope you guys are enjoying your spooky month so far, reading your spooky books. And yeah, the one I'm currently reading, actually, I had like a nightmare afterwards. So it was quite interesting. I haven't had a spooky nightmare like that in a while. And I was going, well, I guess the books are doing their job. All right, guys, I'll see you in my next video. I hope everybody has a fantastic week and a fantastic weekend. Keep on reading. Bye.